Shalom, more praise. Shalom, more praise. The how about Shemel Shah, double Nancy Pasha GMS. I'm Noah Allah coming at you with a video. In this video, I'm going to be going to the book of Proverbs 13 and 20. Right? Let's get right to it. It says, He that walketh with wise men shall be wise. See that? Here you go. He that walketh with wise men shall be wise. So if you're a wise man and you're with wise men, you're going to be wise yourself. Why? Because of the company that you keep. If you're associating with people that have wisdom, then that's how you're gonna be. But a companion of fools shall be destroyed. But if you're a companion of fools, you're gonna be destroyed. Because why? A fool gonna be taken in his fire. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 16. Every prudent man dealeth with knowledge, but a fool layeth open his folly. See that? A prudent man dealeth with knowledge, but a fool layeth open his folly. So we gotta be mindful of the company that we keep. I mean, it's truth. Yeah, we know people that's in the world. Yeah, people in the world that don't believe that you're cool. It might be, a friend you grew up with, a cousin, whatever. Yeah, of course. But just because you're cool with them don't mean you're really supposed to be dwelling with them like that. Let me get a word. Let me get a real quick. Fraternize. Associate or form a friendship with someone, especially when one is not supposed to. See, that's what it means to fraternize. That's when you associate or form a friendship with someone, especially when one is not supposed to. So we don't fraternize. So we're not really supposed to fraternize with them. We're not really supposed to associate with them or form friendship with someone that we shouldn't. So yeah, they don't may not believers. You might be cool with them. It might be Jake that's in the world, but they're decent Jake. They ain't no drug dealers. They ain't shooting and killing people. It is regular 9 to 5 dudes in the world that just don't believe. You still got to be mindful of how often you associate with them and how closely you associate with them. Because remember, he that's wise among the wise shall be wise. But he that's a companion of fools will be destroyed. They're still fools because they don't have the wisdom and knowledge and understanding of Yahweh Shem Shah. And if you deal with them too closely associated, then you could be destroyed. This is the book of 1 Corinthians. Go right to the point. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. It says, Be not deceived, evil communication corrupt good manners. See that? Evil communication corrupt good manners. So evil communication corrupt good manners. In other words, it can have a negative effect on your character. So the company that you keep shapes who it is that you are. Don't they have a term called birds of a feather flock together? Think about this. When you got older, you notice people that you were around, y'all grew apart. You didn't grow apart because you just may not necessarily have grown apart because you grew to hate the person. But rather you grew apart because y'all were becoming different. Y'all becoming different. So what happened was y'all started to drift away from each other. And that's something that I noticed growing up. You know what I mean? Growing up, it was a lot of dudes in my block I used to chill with. All the time. We used to be in the building. We used to be on the corner. We used to be on the steps, wherever. And when I came into the truth, to the spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah, the Most High just started like pushing them away. Further and further away. He just started pushing them away. You know what I mean? One person get locked up. Oh, somebody moves. Oh, somebody have a baby and they move. Somebody got a job and they never really around. Or maybe that person got older. Some of them got older and matured and distanced themselves. That's just how it happened. But the Most High did that for a reason. First Corinthians verse 34. Awake to righteousness and sin not. So he's telling the Corinthians to awake unto righteousness. Be righteous and sin not. Cease from sinning. For some have not the knowledge of the Most High, which, that's self-explanatory. There are people who lack the knowledge of the Most High. I speak this to your shame. So Paul's expressing disappointment. So Paul had to have been saying that because they had to have been letting evil communication corrupt good manners. So he's saying, listen, man, you gotta wait to righteousness and stop sinning, man. Some of these people out here don't got the knowledge of the Most High. I speak this to your shame. In other words, you should be ashamed of what it is that I'm speaking to you. Why? Because they had that been conducting themselves in this manner. And Paul expressed disappointment. So he's correcting them. He's reprimanding them for their actions. Okay? You gotta take these things into account, man. You can't just be, Israelite when it come time to teach. Or when you're around brothers. You gotta be like this when we among the world. Now, I'm not saying we perfect. We can all mess up. Obviously, we reading about the believers messing up right now in Corinthians, aren't we? So anybody can mess up. But the worst part about making a mistake is not learning from it. Alright? Proverbs 14:7. Go from the presence of a foolish man when thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge. So if you perceive a person who don't got the lips of knowledge, you're supposed to go from that person's presence, man. That person's a fool. Leave from their presence. Don't even deal with them. You're around somebody, they start talking some foolishness, just leave, man. And if you're not in a situation where you can leave, just stop talking to them. Maybe you're on a job. It's your coworker. And you're looking like, let me stop talking to this dude, man. See, these proverbs, they're not, real deep breakdowns. For many of these proverbs, some of these proverbs are self-explanatory. But these things can help you in your day-to-day life and interaction, man. It's these kind of scriptures that make you spiritual. Because people can break down scriptures, you know what I mean? And it can make them, you can break down scriptures and it can make you feel like you're greater than what you are. You gotta know this breakdown, that breakdown. But obviously, faith is number one. But you gotta conduct yourself in a certain way too. Because you can know all them scriptures, but not be spiritual. You could just repeat a breakdown somebody else said. You know what I mean? So these are things that, we all got to take into account. Psalms 1:1. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners. That's self-explanatory. If you don't walk in the counsel of the ungodly, you're blessed. Because you're removing yourself from them people that's wicked. I mean, you got to watch how, you hang around people. To be honest, I don't be around nobody in the world. Now, are there people that I know in the world? Yeah. But I don't, like I said before, everybody on my block that I hung out with, they all gone. The block is basically dead. I'm saying some of them are still around, but those, they do whatever they do. I don't even be seeing them like that. When I do, it's like a high and by kind of thing. You know what I mean? Unless it's something to actually talk about. And if there is, it's brief. I mean, I'm not going over their house or anything. Now, once again, I'm not saying there isn't anybody in the world that's cool. They're not believers, but they decent. I'm not saying, you're not going to know anyone like that. But what I am saying is, for the most part, you're not going to be associating with people in the world. When it's truth. If you can help it. The reason I say if you can help it, because if you're in your job, you can't help it. Using that as an example. I'm saying, just what it is. You gotta be in this truth. You gotta be like, how people go to the gym and they got their headphones on, they don't want to be bothered. That's kind of like how you gotta be when you're just out there among the people in the world. You gotta have your game face on. Blessed is the man that focused. Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doeth he meditate day and night. That's the person that's blessed. And he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. Those are the ones that's the righteous. Okay, we're going to be like a tree planted by the water. A tree planted by the water is going to flourish because it's next to its source, it's next to the water which gives it nourishment. So that's how we got to be with these scriptures. This is our spiritual water that gives us nourishment so that we can flourish spiritually. So with that, I'm going to close and say, oh, praise to how about you know, shout out to Blind, Father GMS. Always better learn something. Shalom.